Welcome to The Fight with Teddy Atlas. I'm Ken Rideout, joined as always by legendary trainer and notorious truth teller Teddy Atlas. Teddy, what's good?
It's good that I got you guys to come here again, I guess. Oh, you guys convinced me to do another one of these things before camp breaks. I didn't think I'd be doing any more podcasts. You know, I always get scared, get nervous in camp, concentrating on the task in front of us, which is defending the title with Alex. Obviously, March 30th on ESPN in Philadelphia. 8-week camp here. But you guys talked me into doing the last one, and you talked me into doing another one now. And we have a real big surprise. Actually, we have a couple, but we have a big surprise. I'll let you introduce that. I don't want to steal your thunder.
But I don't get many chances to be the star,
we have a nice
Teddy.
surprise that'll be here with us. And pretty special. Special for the sport of boxing, I think. Great story. But, I'm at your beck and call, Ken. You know,
You're the best.
You tell me to be here.
People are demanding an audience with you. Everyone wants to hear what you have to
You
say.
tell me to be here. I say, okay, what time?
Before I introduce today's guest, I want to tell you just a quick story or paint a quick picture for you. Just imagine a movie where boxer has a decent career, gets a shot at a title, suffers a 9th round TKO, dropped by his promoter, decides to take a full-time job working on a road crew, gets a call from a new management, wants to have a couple fights, still thinks he has something in the tank, gets a shot at the world title against Golden Boy promoted, Freddie Roach trained fighter, all the makings of a Hollywood-type Rocky story. Kid takes the fight, shows up on fight night, gets dropped in the first, looks to be overmatched, but he has other ideas. Starts working the body, listening to his corner, following instructions, scores a knockout in the 4th round, wins the world title, and that story is about young Andrew Cancio, champion of the world. Welcome to the show, Andrew.
By the way, we clapped for you on the last podcast, too. We were talking about you before we even got to this point, and we love having belts on our show, apparently. We're becoming a show of belts, and it's a beautiful belt, and it's a beautiful story. Congratulations.
Thank you guys very much. Thank you guys for having me as well. And yeah, I listened to the last one too, how you guys were clapping, and you know, it's surprising whenever people actually recognize me now, you know, so it's pretty crazy.
You deserve every ounce of recognition, and like we talked about before, and as I've talked about when we've had other champions on the show, it gives me chills to see the belt because I know everything that you've put in and all the hard work that you've put in to get to this point to be able to hold that belt and own it. And I can't stress to you enough how happy I am for you, both Teddy and I both, and to see you here with the belt and getting the recognition that we think that you so aptly deserve. I mean, I hope that you are enjoying it as much as I think you're enjoying it because it's awesome.
It's great for the sport.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you're a leader. You're showing other fighters out there. You're an example. That's beautiful. That's a great privilege. You know, that's a bonus on top of everything else you're getting, is that you can show other young fighters out there and older fighters too, that, hey, don't give up. Don't ever give up. You know, kind of like Jimmy Valvano, the great college basketball coach, and now they raise all that money, you know, in his memory with ESPN for the fight against cancer. You know, that great speech, don't give up, don't ever give up, you know, no matter what the fight is. And you're a proven point of that. And again, I said it already, but I'll say it again. You're a great story. You're just a great inspiration for the young fighters out there, the older fighters, you know, the guys that things didn't always go well for them, that they didn't have an Olympic gold medal, they didn't have the big promoter at the beginning, they didn't have all those things going for them, but they had one damn thing. They had the will to be a champion.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing. So you're living proof of that. And again, you're a reminder of what makes this sport so great. You know, that you're never out. You're never out.
No, you're not. You know, as long as you give yourself that chance, you always have a chance. So
It's such a great story, and we're going to get into, like, everything that went into the fight, including the emotions, the back and forth of the fight itself. But before we get into that, I want people to understand a little bit more about Andrew, the person, the husband, the dad, the road worker for the SoCal Gas. But maybe let's start in the beginning. Like, how did you first get into boxing? Where did you grow up? For the fans, walk us through the early stages of your career.
So, coming from a big Mexican background family, we got together, watch all the pay-per-view fights, always, right? I've always been a fan of boxing, and I used to watch these big fights and man, it'd be tight to be a professional boxer. I wonder how it feels. One day at school, I was hanging out with one of my friends, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go train." And go train? What do you mean go train? Yeah, I'm gonna go to the boxing gym. And I live in Blythe, California, small town. There's not a lot there. So I go, "We have a boxing gym?" He goes, "Yeah, it's right there, right next to the rec center, and it's for free. It's open every day at 4 or 4:30." And he goes, "Come with me. All you got to do is get hand wraps." I went, got hand wraps, showed up to the gym, never left the gym since then. And the coach at the time was like doing mitts with me and everything right away. Like he said, I picked it up pretty quick. Well, I was sparring in like 3 weeks with the other kids that had been there. And I fell in love with it. I go, this is cool, And then fought, amateur, a little bit, And I was always, they always said I was a hard hitter.
You want to throw a left hook at that little
yeah,
fly.
Yeah, like that.
Feel free.
One quick thing I want to say is it's interesting that they had you sparring at 3 weeks, because that's a good way to turn someone off quickly, because you may have all the skills in the world and think you like it until someone punches you in the mouth, and then you're like, I don't know if I want to do this. The punch in the back, I look good, I feel good. Someone's going to punch me back and try to hurt me? That's a different story. So the fact that you were able to spar 3 weeks into basically not even knowing what you're doing and to get hit, like, I don't think that the average fan understands getting punched in the mouth 3 weeks into sparring. You really don't even know what you're doing. You're probably still working on jabbing in front of a mirror. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But I think that's significant, is to recognize that's crazy. Yeah,
so that's what, and fell in love with it. And I did, I would go there after school every day, and that's how I did some amateur fights. They started running away from me, and I got tired of it. What's crazy is I've always fought for, every time I fought for a belt in the amateurs, I never won. But here as a pro, ever since, for now, every time I fought for a belt, I've won these bouts. So I'm like, man, it's crazy, like how your life can just turn and like, just everything, and in general, like I'm like, man, I can't believe I'm here. Like I'm from a small town where like nothing like this is like, it's so out of the norm for us.
Styles, we always talk about styles make fights, but, styles make amateurs, styles make pros. You don't have to style for an amateur, to be quite frank. You're not tall, you're not long, where, these amateur fights are scored like some kind of video game,
quick, 3 minutes, 3 rounds or 4 rounds. Back then it was 3 rounds. I think they're doing 4 rounds now, right? With no headgear now.
2-minute rounds, I think, aren't they?
Yeah. So, but
they don't count body punching. Yeah, they don't respect body punching.
And as a pro, with my style, you need the later rounds to break them down. And that's when, in the beginning, when someone's faster and slicker than me, it's going to be good 4 or 5 rounds if, depending on how quick I can get to
it. Perfect example of that. Yeah. Perfect example of why certain guys that don't make it real far, national titles, all that stuff, in the amateurs, they can become world champions in the pros, because the amateurs doesn't necessarily show the skill sets and the abilities that it takes to be a world champion. The experience is all the same. You get calmer in the ring, you get more experience, you get more confidence. We all need that. Yeah. But as far as the styles, as far as the skill sets, I'll go and look at a guy that might lose in the first round in a national tournament. I say, that guy's going to be a good pro. And meanwhile, he lost in the first round. His first fight, or in the Olympics. Why is he going to be a good pro, Ted? Well, first of all, he already knows certain things that a pro needs to know, sort of a style-wise, slipping punches, getting inside. He just doesn't have enough time, as you just alluded to, in the amateurs for that to work for him, to get to the body. He goes to the body, he puts pressure on. He's a guy who's, you can see, is calm and his patient. Well, his patience and his calmness hurt him in the damn amateurs, because by the time you start getting going, the bell is rung for the last round.
Exactly.
But in the pro, pros, you look ahead and you project in your mind, if you know what you're looking at, hopefully, you say, wait a minute, this guy will get his engine running in the fourth, in the fifth, in the sixth. You got your engine running pretty quick.
Yeah, I had to.
Yeah, well, you get dropped in the first round.
Yeah.
So you go to the gym, you start fighting. What was your amateur career? Amateur record?
I think like very, I think 38 fights. I want to say 6 losses. And I think I had like 6 TKOs where they stopped the fight.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've had some stoppage in amateurs as well. People always tell me, you hit hard, you hit hard, you hit hard. I just thought, even my coaches now tell me, you hit hard for a little guy. And I'm like,
You left out the word that they really use, I think. I could see almost. You hit hard for a little so-and-so.
Yeah, you know what I mean, right? So I'm like, but,
I got you.
I spar bigger guys, and they tell my coaches, they tell me, like, you crack hard. Like, whenever we tell you hit hard, it's because you do hit hard. But now I have like more and more confidence now as each fight goes on and on and on, and you get more experience and everything. Like you're more comfortable with your coaches or whatnot, and like everything that you're doing in the gym is working perfectly right now. So.
You know what I love about guys like you, besides the story that I already talked about, is when you're only talking about 30, 40 amateur fights, there's always an upside. You're always going to get better. You always can get better. Yeah. When you have these guys, and don't get me wrong, some of these guys are the world champs now. They're guys for 300, 400 amateur fights. But you get to a point with those guys where what you see is what you get. If they don't make it right away, they ain't making it. Because they are what they are.
That's a good point.
They got 400 fights. Like Customato, my mentor used to say to me, hey, Teddy, if you don't know how to fight after 400 fights, you better go sell Italian ices on the corner. Go find something else to do. You better know something. So those guys are already there, and you're going to know right away. But the guys like you got to give them time. You're kind of like a wine. You need time. You need time. And you've proven it.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, man. I just... how you just know when you know, I told my mom, like, my mom would always tell me, like, mijo, I don't know if this is going to be for you. Like, 'cause she seen me get my dreams crushed, in this sport. And she's seen the bad side of boxing.
And there's plenty of those.
And I'm like, I'd cry. I would be depressed and all that. And I just told her, I go, no, Mom, it's just going to make my story that much better. So when I won the world title, I go, didn't I tell you your boy was me world champion? She's like sitting there crying. She goes, yeah, like, it's like, it's just, I just knew. For some reason, I just knew. So like every time I came back to the sport, I was like, yeah, sometimes you doubt yourself, but then it's like, no. Like there's only one reason why God keeps putting this back in your life, or it and then had I stopped, I wouldn't be a world champ right now, And so it's crazy. It's just like something that I just knew I was going to be a world. And, people would tell you you're going to be a world champ. It's like, well, we'll see, It's hard. But,
you never know how close. There's a story for all those listeners out there. You never know how close you are. And you might stop, and you were this close. And you didn't stop.
Nope.
And you got there. And there's a great lesson for all those young guys out there, the people that have been in your position, that have been around, the people that I just described, that you've been through, some hardships, some trials and tribulations. Hey, that's life.
Yeah.
That's life. But don't give up, because you don't know how close you are. It might be right around the corner.
Yeah, you never know. And that's, I look back and because I think, like, because, like, yeah, I'm enjoying it, but I'm still, like, it trips me out. Like, man, I go back to work and we get changed out in the locker room because we're always dirty. You have my boots, your coveralls there. We're always, and the guys there, we're always talking crap to each other. We all get there earlier to, so I walk in, they're like, there he is, champ, and like just clapping. I'm like, man, and I don't like all the attention. And I'm walking around, and then another coworker of mine, Tim, he goes, be quiet. He goes, you ain't shit. He goes, get your boots and put your covers on. Let's go to work. And I go, that's what I'm talking about. I go, thank you. And everybody just starts laughing. I'm like, there you go. I go, thank you, man. And like, so it was funny whenever he did that. But yeah, I still feel like I'm just a normal guy that, that chases dreams.
It reminds me of the expression, when you're going through hell, keep going. Because eventually you're going to get out of there. And this is, and we're gonna get into the fight. And I have a million questions around the fight and the emotions involved. But walk me through, just for the fans, some early stage through it. So you decided to turn pro. What year did you turn pro?
Oh man, I don't even know. So I was 17. Turned pro in Mexicali. I was fighting for $350 for 4 rounders.
You could turn pro 16 over there.
Yeah, I was trying to. they wouldn't let me. Because I was just tired of the amateurs, you know, they're running around on me. I'm losing these tournaments in the finals, and what do they do? They just pitter pat. So I told my coach, I'm done with this. And then turn pro. I told turn me pro. No, you're not ready. Like right when I turned 17, Mexicali, we went and we fought over there. $350 for a 4-rounder, and some club like. It was just, you know how it is turning, out there in Mexico, how they have all these small little shows. Well, I was
Smoker.
Exactly. So, and boom, I turned pro. I was knocking people out. And I was over there for about, until I was 18, but I was getting a pretty good fan base in Mexicali. Everything was going good. Go to the United States. And then, I had an off night, but I thought I won the fight still. They gave me a draw. So we're doing, my manager at the time was like, oh, I'm going to take care of you to snap. Even in Mexicali, Fernando Beltran from Top Rank, he offered me a contract. My manager said, no, that contract's no good. Didn't sign. Was having a lot of ups and downs dealing with that, not fighting as much as I wanted to. And I was living in Blythe, going to Indio to spar over there at the Boys and Girls Club. Juan Diaz, Timothy Bradley. Timothy Bradley had just turned pro as well. He was signed with Thompson. So we go way back, and they know me since I was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
And doing everything, and had ups and downs in my career. I suffered my first defeat against Carlos Finan at Planet Hollywood. And I got dropped for the first time. I lost like 22 pounds in 11 days. Like a bunch of stuff went bad. And that was a setback. I left the sport for a little bit, took a time off. I wasn't mad at my management team. And then I go do it again, all over again, and things just were never going right. Finally, I said, I'm done with this. I'm going to get up and I'm move to Oxnard. I'm going to go and train with... see if Danny Garcia and Coach Haas will train me. I was a follow Victor Ortiz, and I loved the style, I loved the combinations, everything. My brother was out here, living out here, working for the gas company. He had told me, he goes, you need to get out of Blythe. You got, your career and all that. You're going to India to go spar. You don't have sparring in Blythe. I go, yeah. So did that, came out here. My brother was... emailing him because they were in Russia with Mago for a fight. So I rode over here in camp training against Speedy Gonzalez, for Speedy Gonzalez. And I come out here just like that. From one day to the next, I got the family together. I go, I'm out of here. I'm done. They're like, what? I go, yeah, I already called Robert. I'm going to Oxnard. Packed my stuff up the next day. Boom, I was gone. And then here I am, that fight, I lost that fight. I don't think I had lost a fight. So here I am again, just back and forth. My manager wasn't fighting a lot. Then they offered me Jerry Belmonte's 18-1 at the time on Soto, I think the Andre Berto undercard in San Antonio, Texas, against Jerry Belmonte's, the Corpus Christi kid.
Yeah.
Hadn't been in the ring in probably a little bit over a year, and they're like $8,000. Like, I get paid $10,000 to fight 10 rounds. Like $8,000, take it or leave it. Well, what are you gonna do? You're gonna take it. Took it, whooped his butt right out there. Still hadn't got a contract yet, and
you won a decision there, or you knock him out?
No, I won a decision, but it was unanimous.
Wow! Like, to win a decision against the Corpus Christi kid in Corpus Christi, you must have put a beating on him.
Oh yeah, people were saying like stop the fight because he just wasn't. After he felt the power and we were engaging, and like he got hurt with the left hook, and then from then on I was just like tagging him. So that happened. Boom, figured I'd get a contract then. Nope, no contract, still no contract. I fought on a lot of Golden Boys cards, people thinking I was signed with Golden Boy. Never signed with Golden Boy. Kept going, and then what happened?
Then at some point you got a fight with Rene Alvarado,
Yeah, there you go.
and you beat him with a TKO in the 8th. And I think it was at that point where you got, after the fight, Golden Boy comes to you, they want to sign you. Boom, it's on. You've got to be thinking like, boom, fast track, here we go.
Yeah, so,
Take it over.
About time. All right, now I'm signed with the promoter now. Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happened. I'll go and fight Hugo Casares. Yeah, he former world champion. Stopped him in 3 rounds.
3rd round knockout.
Yeah. So then after that, we get everything was going good. Then we get the call to fight Jojo Diaz, for a NABF featherweight title. And I had said, yeah, but, I regret taking that fight now. I had a lot of things going on in my personal life, my trainers, everything was just going bad.
I think you got cut during training camp as well.
I got cut a week before the fight.
And these aren't the kind of things that fighters are going to advertise to the general public, and because you don't want to come across like you're making excuses, but facts are facts.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things that don't get spoken about in general. Is like, you're not going to lose a fight and then go, well, I had a cut before the fight.
Yeah,
so you're just keeping it to yourself.
Yeah, no, it was my fault because even my coach Charles was telling me, don't take the fight. He goes, you're not there mentally. You're not, like it's a bad fight for you right now. Like just, I had accepted it, turned it down, and then I got talked into taking it by my team, my coach and manager. Ended up taking it. Got cut. Like everything there was so many signs there to be like, pull out, and now that was perfect, but no, we still went ahead and we stopped sparring and we went ahead with the fight. And I don't take nothing away from Jojo at all. Mm-hmm. I'm not mad. He whooped my butt, and till this day I haven't watched that fight.
Yeah.
I won't watch that fight.
And you lost it by TKO in the 9th round. There. But more importantly than that, talk to me about what happened afterwards with the promoter and where the career went from there. Because by all accounts, you're getting going. You beat Alvarado. You run through Casares.
I'm going to say one thing.
Go ahead.
As much as that sounds like a terrible thing, everyone has a different journey in life. That was your journey. That was the journey you were supposed to have. Because if you don't go there on that road, and you don't go through that hardship, and all those things you just described to the public that usually doesn't hear this stuff, and you don't lose that fight, you're not here.
Yeah.
You're not here. Whatever you learned from that fight, whatever galvanized something in your freaking stomach, and then allowed you to get harder, allowed you to make a decision, allowed you to make a choice, that just crystallized things for you. Even though after that loss, I'm sure it was far from anything being clear to you. I'm sure. But in all the confusion, in all the muck, and all the, all the clouds of doubt, with all of that, when you got through it, you found a way to be stronger.
Yeah.
You got forced. You got forced to be stronger. So for you, I don't suggest this path for anyone.
No.
But for you, that was the path that was going to take you to become the kind of fighter you had to be to overcome a first-round knockdown and to win a title.
Yeah. No, I say it all the time, too. No matter, like Teddy's 100% right. Even though you don't want to go through what you did, you had to. You went through it, and it changed me. But I tell everybody I wouldn't change my path any other way because it made it that much better that night.
That's what it made you
exactly. Do. So at the time, you don't know why you're going through it, but you're going through it.
Exactly.
And like you said, whatever it takes for you to get out of those dark times and stuff, but it brought me here. And like you said, who knows if I would have won the Jojo Diaz fight? And then we go on. We just don't know that path. This was my path that was.
You might not have had to look at things or look yourself in the eye the way you had to look yourself in the eye if you had won that fight.
Yeah.
And you might not have found the things that you wound up finding.
And no, you got to go back and readjust and get your stuff together.
Exactly right.
Mentally, and like you said, it changes you as a person. It helps you. It redefines you. And it did, it was a rough 2 years. I tell you what, it was a rough 2 years for me, my family, my coaches. Like it was rough to help me get back to the gym.
Well, I would tell you one thing that comes to mind when you're saying that. Guess what? If it was easy, I'd do it too.
Yeah, because
Everyone would do it.
everybody would
This
do
ain't
it.
for everyone. Getting punched in the face for money is not easy.
No, I mean it's pretty easy for me. Talking, doing all this stuff. This stuff's not easy for me.
That's
but
all right.
The fighting part.
Ken, minimize that punch in the face stuff just for a minute. There's slipping punches. Fighters don't sign up to say, I'm getting into this business so I can get punched in the face. No, they're not signing up for that. They're signing up because they can be a master in that ring. They can make guys miss, and they can get to a guy without the guy being able to get to them. They can figure out a way to be smarter than the other guy. They can figure out a way to take things away from the other guy. They can figure out a way to counter whatever the other guy is trying to do. They can figure out a way to take away the power, that big right hand, whatever it happens to be that the guy is looking for. They can find a way to elude that punch and be able to find a way to get into where they can start to get into their, rhythm of offense, where they can start to obviously be in control in the way they need to. But a fighter, I mean, that's the sweet science. That's the art of it. A football player is not going onto a football field saying, man, I can't wait to get my bell rung. You know what I mean? He's going out there, he's saying, I'm going to ring someone else's bell. If he's a running back, he's saying, I'm going to get small when I got to get small so they don't get a clean hit on me. And that's exactly what these guys are saying. They're saying, I'm going to get into that squared circle, that chamber of truth, and I'm going to show them what I am. But when the punches come, I'm going to elude them. I'm going to slip them. I'm going to slide them. Maybe I'm going to ride with it.
Yeah.
Maybe a lot of guys that think punches are landing, and I know that he can speak to that. They're not landing. They're being blocked, or they're riding with it. They're not. If the amount of punches that get landed in, we talked about the Rocky movie, your Rocky story. There's no doubt about it. But if the amount of punches landed in a real fight, the way they do in 1 minute in a Rocky movie, all the fighters would retire.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be able to fight.
Nope.
Well, that's one of the unfortunate byproducts is that although you don't want to get punched in the face, as you saw in the first round in that Machado fight, sometimes, unfortunately, you do.
Yeah, it comes with the sport.
What matters is what you do after you get knocked down, because your fight against Machado is like a metaphor for life. And not to sound too cliche or corny, but you don't have to win every round to win a fight. What matters is, how do you get off the canvas? It's easy to look good when you're battering someone from pillar to post. But how do you look when you're challenged and you're on the deck, but you still believe in yourself and you're willing to take those punches to give a few and to get back into it? And you did exactly that. And we're going to get into that in a minute. So after the, just to get back on track with your career. So after you beat Rene Alvarado, you get signed to Golden Boy. You beat Cazares. Fight Jojo Diaz, lose a tough TKO in the 9th. What happens after the fight with management, promotion? Walk me through it.
So, you get a phone call. I tell with my manager team, I said, this isn't working out. And then they're like, you're getting released by Golden Boy Promotions. So
now, to remind everyone, you just got signed by them 2 fights previously when you beat...
I only had 2 fights with them. The Cazares one and then the Diaz fight. And then, boom, I get dropped. And, everything else is going bad in my life. And then this, my best friend told me not to take the fight either. He goes, this is not what you need right now. Because this will, if you lose, it's gonna take you in a deeper spiral going down. Mm-hmm. Well, I did. I didn't listen to him, and I did all that. So, yeah. So then it was everything was going bad in my life. You get my butt whooped, right? Mm. First pay-per-view fight. But this was my shot, and here I am just, where everything was going bad in my life. It's like, why am I here now? Like, why did I get this phone call now when I was ready for this, But anyways, took it. Got my butt whooped, I went back to work Monday, all beat up. Yeah, and people were like, what are you doing here? Like, nobody could even tell me, that people were like, oh, good fight in my head. I go, no, it wasn't, But they were like trying to be, supportive and stuff. So yeah, and then I get that. So I get dropped by Golden Boy, just like that. And they're like,
did they give an explanation? Like
they said, management. They told us later on that it was your management team. Between that, it was just being too difficult. You're too much baggage with that.
Wow.
So yeah. So then I left the gym. I told my best friend right after the fight. We were sitting there in the 2 seats that they gave me, and long before after the Canelo and Liam Smith, we were just still they were sitting there cleaning up, and I'm just telling him, I go, I'm done, man. I go, this is it. He told me, good, because I can't go through that again. And I go, yeah, I won't put you guys through that, and like So it was very difficult watching the people I care about see it was bad.
Mm-hmm.
So then I told him I'm retired, and then didn't do anything. Didn't go to the gym. Didn't run. Didn't do nothing. Didn't even watch boxing at all. I was just out of it. And people are telling me, you'll be back. Juan Diaz, I seen him at the hotel. After the fight, and I'm just with my buddies and stuff, and he's like, get back in the gym. I go, no, I'm done. Let's get back in the gym. I said, nope. Well, little by little, getting the itch, I didn't want to leave the sport like that. I know what went on, so I was like, I don't want to go out like that. I know I have a lot more to prove. My coaches are talking to me. My manager now, friend Dan, was telling me, you got to get back, got to get back. They would just talk to me. I'm like, well, but little by little, it got closer and closer and closer. And then my kids told me, they want me to fight again. I didn't think I would hear that from them, but yeah.
How old are they?
My daughter just turned 10 on Friday, and my son just turned 7 at the end of January. So yeah, we're there with my coach. I was at a brewery, and I go, my kids want me to fight again. So he's like, well, he goes, if you're gonna do it. He goes, I think you should. He goes, but only if you're as in it as they are. I go, yeah. I go, I don't want to, I'm telling. I go, yeah, I don't want to leave the sport like that. And they kept talking to me. I'm like, you know what? Went back to the gym. I go, all right, I'm gonna go back. And little by little, going back to the gym, I wanted to be there again. So it wasn't because I would go once, and then I'd stop. I'd go 2 weeks later, and I still wasn't into it. And all of a sudden, boom, I'm back in there, heavy. I got a lot of work to do to get back down. And so I'm like, all right.
How heavy were you? That's what I'm here for, the ugly questions.
Probably solid 175.
Oh,
jeez.
Yeah.
That is
that's not abnormal for fighters. For the viewers, they're like, oh my God. But
right,
this is what happens.
Solid 175?
Yeah, solid, yeah.
What's your height?
5'6" and a half.
Let me ask you a
5'6",
question.
175
Where was the solid part?
It still had the biceps.
Just like to clarify that.
Yeah. No, so it was, and he's like, well, we got a lot of work to do, and I go, yeah, I know. Started training, and I told, I ended up signing with my manager, and I said, don't call anybody, well, of
That's
course.
Ray Chaparro, right?
Ray Chaparro,
yeah.
Unfortunately, I always give him a hard time.
And your trainer is Joseph Janik, Haas.
Joseph Janik, yeah.
So Haas is telling you, let's do this. We're ready. Everyone's in your corner.
He had told he was on board with me. Well, we're not going to call anybody until we're, it's been 15 months since I've been in the gym. Whenever I came back, I was only training for maybe 3 months, probably, right? 3 months. And we got that. We were a month in, and that's whenever Ray reached out and asked for a fight and got it. And we were 2 months out from that point on. So we had already lost weight. And then, once I get going, I know how to do it right. And I do it right. Cut it cold turkey, and boom, we're in there.
And that's when they call you. Ray reaches out to Golden Boy, and you get the fight with Sharabayev Adar, the Kazakh fighter who I think at the time was 7-0. And he's with Golden Boy, and they call you hey, we got a fight for you.
Well, he wasn't with Golden Boy. They were looking into it from what I hear, but I guess his manager bought a slot on that card. So we reached out at the right point, at the right time, and they told him, we have a fight, 7-0, 7 knockouts,
And their team really wanted you, right? They actually went above and beyond trying to convince you to take the fight with their guy.
They didn't even try, but they said that they'll pay the purse, they'll pay the per diem, the hotels, everything. Golden Boy didn't.
That's what I mean. Their management team wanted the fight enough to pay your purse and pay all the expenses to get you to get a fight for their man.
Yep. So,
at 7-0, just assuming that obviously they assume
I'm just
it's an
coming
opponent.
out for maybe he probably needs money, you know, like hey, why is he coming out after a tough loss, you know, get my butt whooped, and then now you're taking on if you see it time and time again, all right, now he's coming back after a 2-year layoff, you know, undefeated guys, and again, he's just there for a paycheck.
This is also a Kazakh fighter, 7-0 as a pro, who probably has a huge amateur pedigree as well.
Yeah, so we looked at him, told them, I go, I'm in. I go, let's go, you know, because, you know, and I've been up against hard hitters before, you know. Rocky Juarez, man, he hit hard, and you know, I got dropped by him, got up and finished the fight off and won the fight, you know. Rene Alvarado hit hard. There's a lot of people that hit hard, and I faced for 10 rounds. So I'm like, okay, he's knocking everybody out, but I hit hard too. I got
a logo for you. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no.
I know your management team is here, and I know your promotional team is here. You got a good guy here that's doing all that stuff. I got a logo for you. It's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you need to put that out there. I mean, obviously it's not a new one, but it fits you. It fits you perfect.
Yeah.
Go ahead, continue.
So I told him, yeah, I got him. I go, you know, I watched a little bit of his fights, and that one day we all were there at the gym. I go, I'm in. We all went around. They're all in. I go, all right, let's get to work. Went in there, you know. Bernard Hopkins was in the fighter media asking me all this, and I'm like, you know what? I go, because are you here? Do you see yourself as an opponent? I go, no. Well, I don't. I tell people all the time, I don't take fights thinking I'm going to lose. I take them because I know I can win. I go, now if it doesn't go our way, okay, then that's so. But I go, but I don't take these fights. I go, I'm not here. I'm not here for the money, because I have a good job that pays me well, where I can just be set like that, just being a normal, going to work Monday through Friday, you know, 40 hours a week, and I'm cool. I don't need this stuff. I'm doing it because I'm chasing the dream. I'm only here because I feel like I can become a world champion. Because if I didn't believe that, I would have retired a long time ago. He goes, all right. He goes, I go, he's a young guy knocking everybody out. I go, I've been there, done that. I go, he's coming in here thinking that I'm done, I'm washed up. I go, I know he trained hard on that. I go, I can tell he's very confident in his abilities. I go, I'm gonna be there for 10 rounds, and I go, he's gonna hit me. I'm not gonna go down. I'm gonna go right to him. I go, I'm gonna pressure him, because he's never been in a 10-round fight that's been tough. I go, and I know with my loss to Jojo Diaz, and it's my first fight back, that people are like, you know, how good is he? You know, we just seen. So go in the fight, and he's trying to outbox me, right? He's trying to put his size, because he was taller than me. I mean, he was pretty big. And back then, I was still trying to campaign at 126.
Yeah.
So take a couple licks, right? Gives me a little adjustment time to warm up. But here we are with the 2-year layoff, you know, or it's been like 2 years since I've been in the ring. Mm-hmm. So I started getting my rhythm. Third round comes around. I'm starting to walk him down. He's going backwards. And I just see this opening. Left foot, just straight out. Boom, drops him. And he tries to hold me, but he was already on the floor.
Yeah.
From that point on, I was landing body shots. We were in control of the fight. Like the fifth round, I hit him again, got him stunned, dropped him with the right. And then from that point on, we were in control. Like, this was my fight, the body shot. He didn't know what to do. You know, my coach was like, he goes, are you having fun out there? I'm like, yeah. He was like, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing it. Let's go out there and have fun. And I was man. And then one of the rounds, I looked at the referee like, are you going to stop this?
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And even the commentators pointed out, like, he's looking at the, like, I go, oh, and I kept going after him.
You asked for it.
Yeah, so, and then the 10th round comes, right? And I'm like, man, like, he's just taking a beating, and you know, I'm like, I gotta, you know, I'm gonna try to finish off this fight, close the show. You know, that's what makes champions. You know, they gotta close out the show. They have to keep going. So I went out there, and I just took it to him. He got hurt by another right hand, and then that's when their corner threw in the white towel. That's it.
Oh, they threw it, and that was in the 10th of a 10th round fight, right? Wow.
I believe the first minute, because I was surprised it went on that long.
Yeah.
What were the scorecards, do you know?
Nah, I don't know.
Just curious.
I think he was miles ahead. I remember the fight, and it was like
Everyone was
it was a
shocked.
whitewash.
No, because when you hear the referee, you know, a one-sided fight like that, and the referee's not stopping it, you're starting to wonder, you know, what is the intentions over here.
Well, I'm
That's
pretty
exactly
sure,
right.
like, he wasn't supposed to lose that fight,
Sure.
fight for WBA Intercontinental title, and it wasn't supposed to go the way they,
Of course.
and here I am. The guy dropped in the third round, and nasty hook, and he's never been there. So here he is getting dropped in the third round, and then he knows I'm getting stronger, and I'm just building the momentum. The fifth round, he goes down. He was probably thinking, man, this guy hits freaking hard, and I can't, he's not slowing down.
But what Teddy was saying is a good point. Is like in the Machado fight that we're going to get into. I mean, the ref could have easily stopped that, I thought, a little earlier than he did. But I think that the ref, when the favorite is hurt, they want to do everything they can to make sure that to try to get this fight to the finish line. A skeptic might say that then, all close rounds go to the champion, go to the promoter's fighter, potentially. So it's in everyone's kind of, skeptics might say, best interest to get this guy to the finish line, and only in extreme cases when it's...
Forget about skeptics. Real life, people that have a brain in their head and that have experience in this business and know the truth when they're looking at the truth, know that this sport can be very unfair.
Oh, yeah.
I use the word corrupt. A lot of people don't like to hear that word. I don't give a damn.
Yeah,
because you guys suffer.
Yeah. I've suffered some losses where, like, I didn't think I lost, and, it devastates fighters, and I love hearing you commentate because you throw it out there. You're not shy to say what you got to say on your mind, and it's true. Boxing can be very, very corrupt, and it takes some fun away from the sport sometimes. But so we're still here. We still love it.
We're proud of you, and we're happy for you.
Thank you.
Really, I can't say it enough times. You remind everybody what the sport is supposed to be.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So after that fight, you get signed with Golden Boy. You beat another kid, I think Albanian guy, Darden. Yeah. You beat him in August. So then you get the call to fight Alberto Machado. And like, let's talk about that, the fight. So you get the call. You're gonna fight Alberto Machado, big kid, 6'1", I think. You're 5'6". I mean, even
5'10", yeah, 5'10".
Oh, is he 5'10"?
Yeah,
it just looked like in
5'10",
I thought he was.
Thank God he's not your manager.
Hey, who am I fighting? Oh yeah, he's real big.
He's not that big.
In the weigh-ins, it looked like he was towering over you.
Because he had the running shoes on too, okay. And I'm here with the, I'm like, oh man, because I go, he's not that much taller.
He would tell you what,
he's taller than me, but with the shoes, he did look a lot bigger.
Yeah, he would tell you, listen, if you see a shadow over you, that's just the sun going down. That's not a guy that's standing over you. It's got nothing to do with her.
Yeah, so I get the phone call from my manager. He's like, so what's up? He goes, are you sitting down or standing up? And I'm at work changing out to my other clothes to go home. I'm sitting down. Why? He goes, we got the phone call. I go, for what? He goes, for world title. And I go, no way. He goes, yeah.
Wow.
He goes, but he goes at 130. I wanted to move up to 130. 126. I was just like, I'm just too big for it, man. Mm-hmm. I go, and I've been wanting to move up to 130, and my coach like, no, we got to make some adjustments. We got to start earlier. You got to take care of yourself better. I'm like, yeah, I know, Mm-hmm. So I'm like, at 130, I go, okay. He goes, against Alberto Machado, 21-0. He goes, the guy that you said you can beat. I told him that. I go, I seen him fight when he knocked out. I forgot who he knocked out in the first round, but I had already seen like some flaws in him. I go, I can beat that guy. Well, he goes, it's against the guy that you said you can beat. I go, it's a world title. I go, so he goes, so we'll talk about it. I go, there's nothing to talk about. I go, it's a world title. Like, yeah, let's do it, And
that's right.
He's like, well, we'll meet up with the team. We'll meet you at the gym today. I go, all right. So we talk about it, and we're all in, and next thing you know, it gets even better. It's in my backyard at Fantasy Springs. So, but on the drive home from work, I was like, man, I'm fighting for the world title. I was just like, it didn't hit me until I was driving home. Like, man, and I was still kind of like, just stuck. Like, wow. And then we start training and stuff and everything, and
How much time did you have to train for the fight?
We had 2 months. 2 months. 2 months, right? 9 weeks or 8 weeks? No, 8 weeks. We had exactly 8 weeks when we got the call. But we were already in the gym. We already had the momentum between the undefeated Russian and Darden. That was a heck of a 10-round battle with him. He took everything. got hurt, didn't go down. He was a really, really tough opponent. He helped me make a great fight that night.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we're back, I'm back with Golden Boy, and here I am, my manager's actually doing his job as a manager, he's actually doing his job, got my outfits, everything. He makes sure everything's organized, my meals. So, got me a publicist that's getting my name out there. And so here we are, like, all right. And we start training. Like, it took a little bit. It took like maybe a week or 2 weeks before I, like, all right, you get that world title. Like, let's go to work. And we went to work, and we were ready.
So obviously you had a great 8-week camp.
Great 8-week camp. I didn't mess around. I was so focused. I was getting better every day. Every sparring session, everything was going. My sparring partners were telling my coaches, like, he's hitting harder now, being smaller than when we started camp when he was bigger. It was him being this small, hitting harder. That's what they were telling him. I dropped a couple of them with body shots and stuff in camp. And, they took they helped me out a lot. Like, a lot. We had a great camp. Like, we couldn't have asked for a better camp. Nose was good. We Vaselined it up. And
so talk to me about fight night, because I know we had spoken briefly before we started today, and you were telling me, like, you were unusually nervous and antsy. Like, talk me through the emotions of the fight night.
It was crazy, because as the more and more you do this, the more and more you don't get as nervous. Like, you learn how to calm yourself down. Like with the Darden fight, or even with the Russian, I wasn't like, I was nervous, but I was cool. The Darden fight, same thing. But this time around, when I walked in that dressing room, I could not control my body. I was sitting there in the chair, just shaking. My legs were shaking, and I was just uncontrollable. I was telling myself, it's not time yet. Like, relax. My coach goes up to me, and I'm sitting here in the chair just like this, and I just looking down, and he's like, it's okay, mijo, calm down, like relax. I go, I'm trying to, but I couldn't relax. He goes, put your legs up. Put your legs up. Try to relax. Put my legs up. My legs are just sitting there, just same thing, just shaking, and I'm just sitting there like, man, it's just, and then everything, getting wrapped up. Freddie Roach is there. It's like, all right, you guys got to be ready at this time. We're in our dressing room, and it just, fighting for the world title, like, it's a little bit different. There's a lot more spotlight on you.
Yeah.
Here I am, main event at my hometown. This is the first time I sold out the arena. Like, I always have a big following and stuff, but this time they sold out the arena. They had to add in seats. They ended up adding more seats in there because people were still coming up to the box office. So we know it's there for me. I'm like, oh man, it's like, here I am, like, fighting for the world title. And you think back as all these memories as a kid, like, man, that'd be tight. That sure seems cool to be, fighting for a world title. You see these guys looking at it, and they're on the camera, and they're doing their mitts and stuff. And then here I am living my dream, and I'm back there. I'm like, man, and once we, like, all right, you guys got to start warming up. Once you start warming up, that's where it's like, all right, baby, it's time. Like, it's almost time. Like, here we go. So we're back there and doing our thing. But, you feel good. You're like, man, I'm doing mitts, hitting, and we're like, man, we're tip-top shape. Coach brings it in for a prayer. We do our prayer like we always do, and then I go and do my own little prayer by myself. And boom, we walk. And this time, I was like so nervous, so amped up, and I was like, man, like. And then I forgot the lady's name, but the one she used to work for HBO. She's handling all the stuff in the background. She's like, you know what? Let's go ahead and walk earlier. I'd rather be earlier than later. And I'm thinking in my head, like, no, I don't know. Let's stay back here for as long as possible before we walk. And boom, we go and we walk. I'm like, man, here we go.
Her name is Tammy, right?
Yeah, there you go, Tammy. And I'm like,
that's one of the disadvantages of being the B side, is you've got to kind of follow the schedule, get to the ring, wait for the A side to come out.
Oh yeah, we were waiting for him.
Intimidating.
The glove selection after the weigh-ins, he takes off. He knows what we're supposed to do. And late to the press conference, and I told my team, I go, you guys know my number ones. I go, pick those. I go, if he doesn't like them, don't do my number two. I go, I'm out of here. I told Freddie Roach, I'm not waiting for, I need to go. I need to go eat. So he was just doing that. So yeah, here we are. And then Tammy, she's like, all right, I'd rather be ready. I go, and in my head, I'm like, no, let's stay back here for as long as possible. Because once we get walking, like, I know it's time. Like, no matter what, even though you're ready for it, you're still scared. You're still nervous. The unknown is the scary part. You don't know what's going to happen, man.
And when you get into the ring, at what point, like when you get in, they announce everyone, we're ready. At that point, in the first round, do you still have the nerves, or does the bell ring and you're right in?
Usually when the bell rings, boom. This time around, no.
I was still feeling a little jittery first round?
Everything. I'm just... So it wasn't until he dropped me, where after he dropped me, I woke up. Like, because now it's like, all right, now we're already down, and when I got dropped, I go, oh, shoot, that wasn't supposed to happen, and like, I can literally hear the crowd, like, go, because like they all, the crowd was there for me, and then like, it just got quiet, and I'm like, oh man, I looked to my corner, I'm like, tell them, taking the 8 count, because I've been dropped before, and my previous coaches had told me, if you ever get dropped, you always look at me first. Don't get up, because then if your legs aren't together, the referee can wave it off. So I go and look, I'm good, and I get up, but I'm like, man, I go, all right, I just tell myself, you've been here before, the Rocky Juarez fight. What do? You just hands up, slip some punches. Mm-hmm. Don't let them catch you. And whenever you're ready, whenever you think you're ready, then go back at them. And I wasn't really. He caught me, but I wasn't like that scared her. Oh, they're gonna stop the fight. I was like, all right. So
from a fan's perspective, you look pretty collected. You took a knee. You looked right, exactly as you described. You looked at your corner, gathered yourself, and from my perspective, a spectator, you looked under control. It was a good shot, but you looked completely in control.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was a great combination. Everybody's like, oh, you're off balance. I go, no. I was going under. I go, but he clipped me right on the temple. I felt, and then before I knew it, I was on the floor, because he followed up by that nice left uppercut. Boom. Here I am on the floor. And so I go, no, I wasn't off balance. I go, he hurt me, but it wasn't.
And it was the right punch to throw against you. A shorter guy leaning a little bit.
Yeah, and I was going under, but I was leaning over. Like, I wasn't in my rhythm yet. Catches me, and I'm like, all right. And from that point on, like, there was no nerves. It's like, all right, now you're already behind. Like, he's gonna come after you. Came after me, and boom, slipping some punches, and then I start exchanging with them towards the end of the round. I was exchanging with him. He caught me again, but by then I was like, bam, I'm awake. Here I am.
One of the things that you and I had spoken about earlier as well is that, and I noticed this, it looked like he was supremely confident that he was in control of it, almost walking back to his corner after the first, he almost had like a swagger to him, like, oh, I'm going to get rid of this guy in a hurry. And from a spectator's perspective, that's what it looked like. He looked good. Maybe it was nerves, but the second round, the fight changed completely. I think it was around the second. Like, when did you first notice? At what point in the fight did you catch him with? I think it was a body shot where you were like, got his attention, and it was clear that he was.
I'm gonna jump in.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Listen, we know you stopped him with body shots, and we know that's your bread and butter, and you do it well. But and you've done it before in your career. But for me, I'm going to say you and your trainer did a hell of a job looking at tape, and you saw something. You saw something. You tell me if I'm right or wrong, but you saw something that I wound up seeing, that usually against southpaws, trainers and fighters like to look for right hands, because they think that's the southpaw killer. And it is sometimes. I used to always talk about it on the broadcast for ESPN Friday Night Fights, and of course all the other fights that I broadcast for ESPN. I talk about the southpaw killer, the right hand. And almost traditionally, that was what trainers automatically would look for and feed to their fighters. But this was different. This was a case where the southpaw was throwing that jab a little too slow and a little too close, his jab. He wasn't retrieving it fast, and you started countering him with left hooks over that jab.
Yeah, so we had seen that. He's always in control. He's always the bigger guy going forward. Here I am. I go, my style is perfect. But I used to, so when I lived in Blythe and trained over there, my only sparring partner that I had, his name was Tony Soria. He's a southpaw. I sparred him day in and day out. And I told my coach, I go, I actually know how to fight southpaws. With the Jojo Diaz fight, like I said, I wasn't there. So all through camp, like I love throwing the check hook against southpaws. Once I get your rhythm down on your jab, if I get your rhythm down on your jab, that's my easy way in to go in there. And so as soon as I put that little bit of pressure on him, and now he's on his back foot, he's not going forward no more. So now he's fighting somewhere where he's never been before. And here I am fighting where I'm most comfortable going forward, but this time moving my head, and I'm a lot faster now. And now I'm more confident in my combinations. So yeah, no, I once after I got hit and all that and dropped, and once I got the rhythm, and then once I was pressuring him and having him go back, I can tell the look on his face, like he was surprised that he's hit me with everything.
But left hooks, you were really timing him with left hooks over his jab. And if you take away a taller guy's jab, he's got a problem.
And so that's what. And all through camp, I was throwing the check hook with my sparring partners, and one of my friends and teammate Chia, he told me, he goes, he told my coach, he's like, because he caught me with that check hook. He goes, that one. Everybody thought that I was gonna put him down in my camp. Thought that I was gonna put him down with the left hook, because that's how good we were throwing it in sparring in camp. Check hook, uppercuts, like that's what we practice for. Of course, moving the head and the straight rights are there, but for some reason I was just so comfortable.
I'll tell you the reason is he was a little slow bringing his jab back, and he was giving up his height. Listen, it's great to be able to jab when you're the taller guy in particular, but if you're not jabbing from the right distance, the right position, you're leaving yourself open. You open a window for someone to come in.
If you notice all his other fights, he always drags his jab, but he's always been in control because everybody's scared of him to go forward.
They're afraid to throw the punch.
Exactly. And he against a southpaw, if you're not committed to that straight right or that left hook, you're gonna get caught. You're gonna get countered. You have to be committed. Once you go in there, you got to go in there all the way, full force. And here I am with my shot. Like my dream, it was right there for me to go out and just grab. And that's one of the things why I was just so nervous, between the sold out arena in my hometown. Here it is, it's right there. 36 minutes. All you gotta do. Like my friend tells me, Andrew, hit and not get hit, you win the fight. It's that simple. My best friend Chad.
Where do I sign up for that?
He tells me all the time. He goes, Andrew, it's not rocket science. He goes, you hit him and don't get hit, and you win the fight.
All kidding aside, the best thing he's telling you, it's just 36 minutes. You stay strong for 36. It's not 36 hours. It's not 36 months. It's not 36 years. It's not 36 weeks. It's 36 minutes. You keep your concentration, your focus for 36 minutes, and you can be champion of the world. And that's the truth.
No, it's just 30. We were ready for 12 hard rounds. Like I've been in tough battles before, 10 rounders. I go, all right, it's just 6 more minutes. So I kept telling myself, but we know. Well, I don't know yet, but once we get in those championship rounds and those, my coach said it's gonna feel a lot longer than 6 minutes, which I know. But we were ready for that night. Like we trained hard, and I want to continue training hard and bringing more and more great fights. It's what we had already thought we can be, but nobody else thought we can be.
One thing I hope people do with this is go back and watch this fight. Now that you know the background of Andrew Cancio, watch this fight. It's just beautiful when you understand how hyped and how highly regarded Machado was coming into this fight and what you were able to do. I mean, really, it's a huge compliment as well to your trainer, Haas. I mean, did a unbelievable. You guys were perfectly prepared. You handled all the adversity. This thing had all the makings of an unbelievable story. Someone should do a documentary or a movie about this. It's just the stuff that it's the things that dreams are made of. It's just overcoming adversity, staying on the course, living your dream, believing in yourself. You did it all. It's just, I was so excited to talk to you, and I know Teddy was too. It's just everything that's good in boxing. When you got in the ring that night, the playing field was level. Regardless of how many times he came late to weigh-ins, late to fighter meeting, glove selection, you stayed true to yourself, believed in yourself, and you're the world champion. You're the champion of the world.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I said, my coaches came up with a great game plan, because I'm trained by Coach Haas and Coach Fernando Cervantes, And between them two, so I got a set of 4 eyes in there, and they worked out a game plan. Of course, I have to be there to execute it, but the whole team in general, like, I gave them my all. Like, I was so focused for this camp, and, you know, being a world champ now, like, I'm like, I don't want to lose this. Like, I want the bigger fights. Like, this is just, I think, the beginning for me, you know. And people are like, I had told my team that I'm gonna beat him. I'm gonna beat him so bad that he's not gonna want the rematch clause. He's not gonna want to do the rematch.
And interestingly enough, I saw news just yesterday. Either him or Golden Boy announced that he wanted to immediately exercise his rematch clause, which is typical for a champion to give a challenger a shot at the title. They put in a rematch clause. But I would be curious to hear from you, Teddy. I don't know if I'm Machado, if I want to get back. I don't see anything. Okay, he looked pretty good in the first round, but, you know, I don't see anything that Machado did that he might be able to change in the course of another 8-week camp to say he can beat Andrew. Was there anything you noticed that, because styles make fights, and I think that Andrew's style was a perfect match.
Hey, it'd be a good start not to throw the jab the way he threw it the last time. That'd be a pretty good damn start. You know, he was throwing the jab in a way that you could time it, in a predictable way. He was throwing it, I think, from too close, giving up his height a little bit, throwing a little too close. But to your credit, you timed it. You saw it. You timed it.
My coach said, you know, you have to stay close to him, because if not, you're going to give him the leverage. And sure enough, me, as a, you know, being a pro for quite some time now, and I have some fights underneath my belt, you know, so I know, you know, you have to stay close. Don't even give him the opportunity to be a lengthy southpaw, because then, I mean, yeah, of course.
Right.
So
you see what you're saying? It's funny you're saying that, because if you go back to our second podcast when we talked about you winning this title, and, you know, and it was all starting to come together about getting you on as a guest, I talked about one thing, sometimes the most important part of winning a fight: geography. The geography that's right for you. And I said all night long, Cancio understood the geography that was right for him, be close. And where Machado, the geography that he needed to win and to be at his best in this particular fight was outside, at a distance. And the winner of geography in this fight was going to win the fight. You were the winner of geography. You were the winner of getting yourself in position where you could use the physical assets and the experience that you have. You could execute those things in close, where on the outside, obviously, is where Machado needed the fight to be. You won the battle of geography. You won the fight. And the only thing I didn't say that day when we were talking about it is, it's a funny thing, and it's kind of like what we're talking about with you now. Geography is important with everything. It's important in the ring. It's important in life. You know, where do we put ourselves? What's the geography we put ourselves in life? You know, what position do we put ourselves in? Do we put ourselves in a position to win? Do we put ourselves in the best position to win? Do we put ourselves in a position where we have less of a, you know, obviously less of an opportunity to be at our best, less of an opportunity to learn something? Geography in the ring, geography in life. And the geography has been very consistent in your story, in your journey. The geography in the ring was right for you that night, and the geography in life's been right for you.
Yeah, you know, all the stars aligned, you know, for us. You know, it's crazy. You know, I'm still in shock. Like, coming after a long layoff, and then the way I lost, and then now here we are just on the rise, and I want to continue going up. You know, everything's working out now. Like I said, now I have a manager that actually does his job as a manager, and, you know, I thank him for that. You know, sometimes I tell him he's a little bit too much, but I tell him he's a hyena is what I tell him. And but, you know, he does his job. I got my coaches there to support me. My family's behind me. You know, everything just was working out, and, you know, fine. And so everything aligned that night, and, you know, we went out and did it.
This one of the motivations for the podcast is to discuss fighting as it relates to life. And there's a lot of things that can be taken away from these moments by everyday fans and people in their everyday life. And this is a perfect example. You might not be a fighter, but whatever your fight in life is, you got to keep going. You got to believe in yourself. And really believe, because like Teddy, you and I have spoken before about, are you throwing don't hurt me punches? Are we just kind of like faking our way through this. I just want to survive this fight. I just don't want to get embarrassed and knocked out. Are you genuinely in there trying to win with every ounce? And it was so obvious that you were trying to win, and we could see the emotions after the fight. So before we wrap this up, just talk to me about the emotions of having achieved your goal. They announce you as the winner because, obviously we see you very emotional in the ring, and it was like, I felt emotional watching it. My wife was crying. It was unbelievable. I mean, I really hope that people go and watch this fight, but talk me through your emotions when it happened.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe it. Like, after when I dropped him, I go, okay, cool. I go, all right. And, I hurt him with a body shot. Next, I go, and I'm going to go right back to the body. And then when the referee finally weighed it off, I was just like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
And that's exactly what your action said.
It's like, and I'm like, and at the end, I'm like, yes, like, I can't believe, like, there's no if, ands, or buts. There's no scorecards. There's no judges. Like, you just freaking won the world title. And then you just, you cry, like, some people like, come on, like, man up. Like, you don't understand the road that it took for me to get here. I turned pro when I was 17, and here I am at the age of 30 with my first world title shot, and I accomplished it. Like my coach kept telling me, he goes, not a lot of people can fight for a world title, let alone win a world title. Here we are,
right.
And so you think back, like, man, I remember the broke days, the one-bedroom apartment, can't even afford to make rent. Like, it was rough, like everything. I moved out here to Oxnard to chase a dream, and I just accomplished that right now. In my hometown, my family, my friends, my kids are there, and it was just, you can't even, like, people keep telling me, like, it was like watching a movie, There's so much drama.
Oh, it's better than a movie.
There was so much drama in those 4 rounds, I got caught, I got dropped, came back, and boom, here we are exchanging. So, like, all that, just when you're thinking about it, and then
chapters of a life.
And you're just like, man. I still trip out. I stayed up late the other night, and my girl asked me, why'd you go to bed so late? I was watching the fight. I watched the fight. I haven't been able to sit down and watch the fight by myself, with my emotions. Like, so, and I watched it a couple of times. Like, man, like, you just look at yourself, like, all the hard work paid off, and you're just in there, like, you just, like, got to keep going. But yeah, all that all in one was just like, you just remember everything.
Remember, it doesn't end here.
Yeah.
On to bigger and better things. Keep piling up those belts. You got it, man. You've got all the skills. It's such a great story. And tell people where they can find you on social media and how people can follow your career, because I have a feeling that you're going to see a huge uptick in your social media followings as people start to realize this story and understand your journey.
Yeah, every day I'm getting more and more followers. But yeah, El Chango 126 on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at Andrew Cancio, on Twitter at Andrew Cancio as well. But yeah, every day, man, I'm getting more and more followers. Like, all this, like whenever said, like, Teddy Atlas and this podcast and all that, I was, like, nervous. Like, last night I was nervous to be around, like, because this is the norm for you guys. This is not the norm for me. I'm like, I'm a big fan of Teddy Atlas. Like, I've always, like, been like, I like how he calls it. Like, he's very straightforward, and you know a lot to the game, and you don't sugarcoat it. So I was nervous. I'm over here. I'm like, man, I'm gonna meet Teddy. Like, I'm actually gonna talk to Teddy.
You weren't nervous about meeting me?
Yeah, I was nervous about you too. But because honestly, I'm like, I see him on TV and all that. I'm like, and he, you, like I said, you don't sugarcoat it. And so I'm like, man, I'm just sitting there. Last night I was talking to my boys. I'm like, I'm nervous about something. Like, don't be nervous. I go, man, I'm need to take a couple shots or something. I go, but all today I was nervous. Like, so all this is not, it's out of the norm for me. I just want to train and go to the fight. And I was like, you got to go here, you got to go there. Like, and everybody keeps telling me, this, get used to it. This is just the beginning.
That's exactly right.
So, I hope so. I want the bigger fights.
Hey, the more people that understand this story, the more people that are going to want to come to see your fight, tune into the fight, and hopefully contribute to, setting you up for the rest of your life. And we're incredibly honored to have you. And I know, speaking for myself, like, I couldn't think of anyone that I'd rather talk to right now in the sport of boxing. It's everything that's good about boxing. And I think this is just the beginning for you, and I hope it is. And we're really very excited for you.
And I'm the one that's like, I'm very honored to be on the show, and like, for you guys to give me credit that, because a lot of people, some people are like, oh, he was drained, this and that, but I know you guys know, like, it wasn't that. It was 4 rounds, I executed the fight perfectly, you know, and I'm glad that you guys are giving me the recognition. Like, you guys are, you know, helping me with my exposure, you know, getting my story out there. You know, I appreciate to be on the show, you know.
By the way, I don't know anything about social media. I'm really bad.
See, and that's how I am. I don't like social media. Everybody's like, you gotta get one. You gotta get one. I'm like, no, I don't. Like, but yeah, I'm bad too.
That's why I have you on anytime. I would love to have you on the show anytime because of your story, because of the person you are, the human being you are, and because we have something in common. We suck at social media.
Well, thank you. I love to be on the show anytime.
But you're good at the things that matter, and that's life, and in this case, boxing. And well done. We're excited to see you continue your journey, and thanks again for being here.
No problem. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.